Hello everyone, X Walk Hill Bethelite here. And I heard that someone was saying, I can't remember who, but they were basically saying that Jehovah's Witnesses predicted COVID. No, they didn't. There may be watchtowers talking about war. There may be watchtowers talking about pestilence. There may be watchtowers talking about famines. There may be watchtowers talking about earthquakes, but they're not talking about anything in particular. They're not talking about nothing in specific. Watchtower, this is my whole point. Watchtower didn't predict COVID. Jehovah's Witnesses been in social environments, knocking on people's doors and whatnot. You have not seen any show me the pictures of the J-Dubs standing around with them carts and they got a mask on. Or they're standing around with them carts and they got hand sanitizer. Well, the hand sanitizer, you can't really go with that because you had a few people that were just on that just in general. But as far as social distancing, as far as any of the things that's going on with COVID, Watchtower wasn't doing none of this stuff first. Watchtower didn't shut down its meetings until pretty much the state/government said, hey, y'all can't meet in large groups no more. That's when Watchtower shut this stuff down. Watchtower wasn't on the cutting edge of no COVID. Watchtower ain't predict nothing in particular. Explain this to me. How can Watchtower have predicted COVID, but every other prediction they've ever had was wrong that was specific, such as the generation of 1914 not passing away? I mean, this is probably some individual groups of Jehovah's Witnesses that think Watchtower predicted COVID because there was a Watchtower on pestilence or something like that. Or maybe a study of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse and one of them was pestilence. So they jumped from that to, they predicted COVID. Watchtower ain't good at predicting too much of anything. So that's how I feel about that. I don't think Watchtower predicted COVID. Otherwise, they would have been having Zoom meetings before any of this became worldwide news. And then Jehovah's Witnesses would have been worldwide news for knowing about this before anybody else. You don't see on not one news station where it's talking about this group of people that predicted COVID. I think it's basically probably, if there's Jehovah's Witnesses that think that Watchtower predicted COVID, it's just a group of people that let their imaginations run wild. Because Jehovah's Witnesses don't really do too much about anything. Back in the day, see, I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. Back in the day, you had individual Jehovah's Witnesses talking about having food pantries, having this, having that. And it makes sense because it's a doomsday cult. This is a doomsday cult. This cult is all about the apocalypse and the end of the world and all kinds of things like that. So it makes sense that somebody's going to say, well, why don't we have a food pantry? Why don't we have something for people when all this stuff goes down if this is actually true? Well, the individual Jehovah's Witness, I remember because I was in the car. We were out in field service. My stepdad was, I think, an elder back then. And I'm in the back seat, and the two adults are in the front, and they're talking about this. And basically, it's an individual congregation member saying, well, why aren't we as a people, why aren't we as a congregation preparing for this? Why aren't we getting stuff ready? Where's the food pantries? Where's the shelters? Why aren't we digging shelters? Why aren't we doing too much of anything? And I remember my stepdad really wasn't trying to hear it, like, even though it makes sense. But for a Jehovah's Witness, it's normal to go around talking about the end of the world, but not really to do too much of anything about it. I mean, they within the last, 5 years or something like that, I don't know, was getting together to go bags or some stupid stuff like that. And then when COVID hit, somebody was like, well, I'm glad I had my to-go bag because I had a bottle of water in it. You're going to need more than a bottle of water. If there's an apocalypse, you're going to need more than a bag. That's why this person, who I can't remember his name, was talking about this a long time ago, about getting something big together. That organization don't even believe their own teachings, otherwise they would. You got the Mormons, they done built a whole college, BYU. They done took over Utah, from my understanding. They're doing things. Jehovah's Witnesses don't do nothing but pass out magazines and talk about stuff, but do nothing about it. It's crazy. This is the biggest group of docile people on earth. It's just a bunch of docile people. They don't really do nothing but knock on people's doors, and right now they can't even do that. So they off the world stage completely. They have completely exited the world stage because they don't even knock on doors anymore. This is just a group of people that I got a text message from somebody. So this is a group of people from a Jehovah's Witness. This is just a group of people that are just sending people text messages and try to get people to study with them so that they can make converts any way that they possibly can. But they don't really do nothing. They ain't got no big global food pantry because, hell, they've been talking about a great tribulation for the longest freaking time. Why wouldn't you? They gloat. Jehovah's Witnesses gloat about, oh, we got magazines. We got all these magazines. We print the most magazines. Great tribulation or apocalypse hits. What good is the magazines gonna do? You should be preparing for what you're preaching. Prepare for what you preach. If all this stuff that Jehovah's Witnesses are saying is going to happen, happens, they ain't ready for it. They just assume they're going to figure it out when it happens. Well, when it happens, then we'll just start figuring it out. Nobody does that. If we thought we were about to go to war with somebody, we thought somebody was going to launch missiles, the whole military would be prepared. They would have a whole defense matrix set up. They ain't going to say, well, once the missiles start falling and hitting, we're going to figure it out then. Jehovah's Witnesses for 100-some years been saying governments are going to turn on religion. It's going to be a big bloodbath and this and that is going to happen. And they don't do nothing but print magazines on it and give it out to people. It's clear that Watchtower as a company doesn't really believe the things that they're preaching. These are just things that really scare people. It's a scare tactic, and it's something that draws people in. Because if you notice, Watchtower plays on every single negative thing that could possibly happen. food shortages. Oh, Watchtower's all over that. Oh, well, that means this. Pestilences, wars. Like they don't predict anything in particular, but just any kind of crime. They're out talking about, well, we predicted that there would be crime. Like, everybody knows that. Everybody above the age of 12 knows that there's crimes. Everybody above the age of 12 knows that there could be an earthquake. And there are going to be some. Everybody above the age of 12 knows that there's wars. Just about everybody above the age of 12. Like, you don't need no big magazine printing company to go around telling people stuff that we already know. The word Jehovah is not new to the world, and only Jehovah's Witnesses know about it. It's just that everybody knows except Jehovah's Witnesses that that's not the exact correct pronunciation of God's name, so they don't overplay it like they do, like Watchtower does. Oh, we have discovered that Jehovah is... They have not discovered a thing. Watchtower as a company hadn't discovered anything other than way back in C.T. Russell's day. Back in Charles Taze Russell's day, the photo drama of creation, that stuff was cutting edge back then. But oh my god, since C.T. Russell, I don't think Watchtower has been on the cutting edge of too much of anything, other than they just make a bunch of magazines talking about stuff but not doing too much of anything about it. Comment down below, let me know what you think. But Watchtower did not predict no COVID. They didn't predict no COVID. You ain't seen no JW walking around. You ain't see a bunch of JWs walking around social distancing at halls. You didn't see nobody with, you know, the face mask. You didn't see a bunch of Jehovah's Witnesses at the hall like this. If Watchtower would have predicted COVID, then, I mean, use some common sense. Comment down below, let me know what you think. X Wall Kill Bethelite signing out.